Alright, here we are in an Arena Cube draft. So, the way this works is it's basically just all the cards on Arena. They just take the best of the best, put them together in a cube, and you try to draft some decks around that. So, that said, looking at our pack here, there's nothing that stands out as just super obviously broken. Sublime Epiphany is very good if you're in a control deck. Skyclave Shade might be interesting in an aggressive deck as just a recursive threat. Darefleet Daredevil is actually a lot better in cube environments than it typically is because almost everybody's going to be running some instance of sorceries. And besides that, I mean, Village Rites is very good in the sacrifice archetype in specific. And we could try to like wheel Perilous Mirror if we were trying to do that. But I think I'm going to take the Direfleet Daredevil. Never to Return is also an interesting card. There's a lot of graveyard stuff in this format. Here, Elder Gargaroth's a very powerful card, can just win games on its own, although this format does have just a ton of good removal, so the chances of you untapping with it aren't the best, but if you do, you pretty much win the game. So staying in red, if we wanted to look at red a bit more, really our only options are a Cathartic Reunion or a land. We can also take a Koa Warrior, which is fine, but not great compared to, I mean, in draft this card's great, but when you have a cube with all these options, it's much less than that. We could take Ranger Vios, go towards like red-white, use this to pick up some 1-drops. Maybe like a red-white aggressive deck and with Ranger Vios at a top end. Otherwise, we could go like Fauna Shaman and have this as part of a creature toolbox package. Nightmare Shepherd's not terrible with Direfleet. We could go like red-black aggro. I think I'm going to go with the Ranger Vios. See if we can wield that Sacred Foundry and be in a sort of a red-white aggressive deck. The Aerial Responder might be okay in that kind of deck. Thalia is probably very good in that kind of deck. There's a lot of... I've played a couple drafts before this, and I did see a lot of control decks, which does make it a little hard to play these sort of aggressive decks because you might just run into, you know, I have 4 Wraths in my deck, and then it's kind of hard. They're just gonna, you know, wipe your whole board every time you try to do anything. But Thalia does help with this. Usually can buy us an extra turn or two from getting Wrath, so probably take Thalia here. And anything else that really sticks out. Hostage Taker would be cool. Aerial Responder. Yeah. Nothing that compares to Thalia and what we want to be doing, I think. Here, we could take Sigiled Sword of Valoron. Not great, but it does make... It's a powerful enough equipment that it makes every creature we have a threat. But also, the kind of unfortunate thing about this is it takes 3 to equip, so even though it makes all of our creatures threats, it's still pretty slow. We could take like a Temple Garden in case we go, you know, in case we hop off this Direfleet Daredevil and go into like green-white. We could take also Swarm Shambler as a 1-drop to pick up with Ranger Vios in that same vein. Sarkhan the Masterless isn't really what we want to be doing with the cards we picked so far. I think the best card here is Swarm Shambler. If we do end up in green-white, which this shell is already good, you know, minus the Direfleet Daredevil, then Swarm Shambler is very good in that deck. And, well, Venerator Loxodon would also be good in that deck. We're just seeing not a lot of red. So it could be that the person next to us is snatching up red. Here we could take the Incubation Druid, which has some +1/+1 counter synergies, but I think we're going to go into that, you know, we want to be playing these white cards, and if we're going to be going into white-green, we want the Venerated Loxodon, I think more than the Incubation Druid. Murderous Strider is also kind of an interesting prospect, but I think we're going to take the Loxodon, put this Daredevil on the side for now, and, oh, yeah, Basriket would be very good in this deck, potentially. Mouth Defeat is also kind of interesting. This is more of a, you know, a green-red sort of idea, green-black, you know, make big creatures sort of dealy. Whereas we're in the make small creatures. Heroic Reinforcements is a pretty big pull back towards red-white, though. Is it better than Basriket? I don't know. Basriket is very good in the green-white archetype. Just puts +1/+1 counters on things, make a bunch of 1/1s, and then if it ultimates, it'll eventually win you the game. Although it's not like one of those you just win immediately kind of ultimates. I think we're gonna take, yeah, we're gonna take the Basriket because if we do end up going back into, wow, yeah, we're kind of rewarded with that with Luminarch Aspirant. Although Luminarch Aspirant would have been fine in red-white as well. Kind of tempted to take this Knight of Autumn too, just because there's a lot of good artifacts and enchantments running around, and having some way to answer that on a relevant body that also has +1/+1 counter synergies. But then we're going hardcore into green-white, and honestly, Luminarch Aspirant is just such a backbreaking card And I think that's what we're going to take. But yeah, we probably would have taken that if we didn't just have such an easy pick with Luminarch Aspirant here. We'd probably just take the Scatter Groves. Helps us from flooding out a bit. Also fixing. Grateful Apparition's not bad in this deck. Ooh, Sajiri's Shelter might just be better, though, to protect a creature we've got a bunch of +1/+1 counters on, and also just these spells that are also lands, you just can't, they're just so free, right? Another option would be Swift Response, is just some removal. Grateful Apparition is tempting, specifically in this archetype, it's pretty tempting, but I think Sajiri's Shelter, being that it just is basically a land in most times, and then sometimes it'll win us the game, it's pretty good. Do we want to take Reclamation Sage or Fauna Shaman? I don't think Fauna Shaman is quite as good in a green-white shell as it is elsewhere, although we do have the ability to like discard something, go get Ranger of Eos, play the Ranger of Eos, and kind of refill to discard more stuff with a Fauna Shaman. You know what, I'm going to take it. And, okay, Aerial Responder's fine. I'll take the Sigil Sword of Valoron. Probably not going to play, it doesn't really have any synergies with us, and we don't have a way to get around that hefty equip cost, although it does pair well with, like, you know, +1/+1 counters in general, because it gives stuff vigilance. Just in general, this green-white deck wants to be kind of curving out and getting in some early damage, and then, you know, building a big enough creature that our opponent can't stonewall us. And I don't know if Fauna Shaman really goes with that plan super well, because it's going to be wanting to tap. Oh, wow, Heroic Reinforcements. Yeah, we're going to, I mean, it's just so much better than Wolf Willow. Oh, we got the Knight of Autumn, too. Alright, if we can splash this Heroic Reinforcements, that would be very, very, very good. So we're going to try to be doing that. So, like, this Crag Crown Pathway would be a good way to do it. Hazoret the Fervent is also obscenely powerful. If we had stuck into red-white, Hazoret would be absolutely the pickup here. Omash is kind of interesting, just because we don't have that many 2-drops and 4-drops, but... Alright, we're going to take the Hazoret. It's just so ridiculously powerful that I don't feel bad about taking it there, even if we don't end up using it. All we're passing is some fixing, which would be nice to have, but we're not super desperate for at this point. Here, Bastard's Lieutenant's probably the choice, which also makes me think we're sticking in this green-white plan. Bastard's Lieutenant is very powerful, gives us some +1/+1 counters, gives us benefits for +1/+1 counters. Other option will be Pride of the Conquerors if we did want to go into red-white. This is not a bad pump spell, although definitely better if we can make more tokens than we currently can. Tangled Florahedron's also kind of interesting to get us to our 4-drops. That's also a creature, but I think we take the Bastard's Lieutenant. And for now, we're going to put Hazoret. Maybe Hazoret's actually worth splashing for. If we can splash for Heroic Reinforcements, maybe we splash for Hazoret too. It's a tough one. Evolving Wilds, okay, that's a way we could splash. But History of Benalia is just ridiculous. And pretty much exactly what we want to be doing with this deck. Yeah, I think we want to take that over fixing. And if we might just end up, I don't know, we're still kind of hovering around, you know, green-white versus red-white. It's actually closer than you'd think, because these two cards are very powerful, and especially with History of Benalia, Heroic Reinforcements is just insane with History of Benalia, so this is tough. We'll see if we get some more nudges in one direction or the other. We would like, you know, if we do go green-white, we can splash Heroic Reinforcements, but we don't want to be splashing too much in our aggressive deck. Here, we probably take the Skyclave Apparition. Abraid's also very good. I suppose there's a world where we take this and just go hardcore on the green-white plan and just give up, but I think Skyclave Apparition is powerful enough that we'll take that instead. Just being an answer to everything is really good. Oh yeah, Danto Vanguard is fantastic here. Anything we want to take instead? Chain Whip Arachneer is actually not that bad. Murderous Scarehulk would be interesting, but I think Adanto Vanguard's pretty much exactly where we want to be, and we do need some more 2-drops. We especially need some more 1-drops. We actually have some stuff to get with our Ranger of Eos, so we need to keep an eye out for 1-drop creatures that look good. We're kind of getting lucky in being able to pick mostly white cards, so we still technically have both options open, although here we probably take the Shalai, and I think this locks us into green-white. Shalai's pretty good, just as a way to give like protection to our Luminarch Aspirants and our Thalias that our opponent really wants to kill, and then she has the way to protect from flooding. Yeah, I think we take this. And then probably we'll see if we can end up splashing any of this. Well, there's a way to splash, and we don't really have anything else we want here. If we were in red-white, Captain Lannery Storm would be very nice. Bowman Courier would be okay. So we're going to take the splash here. So that does make me feel good. If we can get, you know, a few more splashes for... maybe we can squeeze in both of these. Hazoret, I don't know. Hazoret's a very particular kind of deck, and the more we go towards green-white, the more I'm not sure that Hazoret's where we want to be. Hazoret's very much, you want Hazoret to be the absolute top end. You know, you want to go 1-drop, turn 2, 1-drop, turn 3, 2-drop, 1-drop, turn 4, Hazoret. You want to, something like that, where you just really spit your hand out onto the board, and I'm not really sure we're quite like that in this deck. It might be a little bit slower. Oh, there's just flat and nothing for us here. Feather isn't, even if we were in red-white, we probably wouldn't take Feather. I guess we take Shatter Skull Smashing. Maybe we can kind of, you can kind of use these as splash cards because they're just kind of colorless lands if you don't have the mana for them. You know what I mean? So they can kind of be a sneaky way for you to splash. We're going to take the cast out here. Probably just Aesli it here. It's probably better than Pride of the Conquerors. I don't think Pride of the Conquerors... That's more if we were like a mono-white aggro deck, and that is a 1-drop creature for us to pick up with Ranger Vios. Speaking of which, could pick up the Loyal Pegasus here. Not bad to put +1/+1 counters on. But I think we're going to be... because I want to play these red cards, I think we're going to take the Evolving Wilds. Probably not actually the right choice, but we'll see. There's no way we're splashing for this Abrade, right? I guess we're not going to be playing that Garrick's card, so might as well. And the off chance we somehow end up in red again. Sure, Golden Egg. Reckless Rage. And back for more. Alright. Oh, Chandra. That's brutal. So what do we actually got in green here? We've got Elvis Rejuvenator, which really we could do without. So green... we could just jettison it and go for the Chandra. Chandra's just very good. Our other option would be like Dryad Greenseeker, just to make sure we don't flood out. Armorcraft Judge as another 4-drop. Not sure we actually want that, but it does give us some card draw. Inscription's actually pretty good. Maybe do we take Inscription? Yeah, I think we're gonna take the Inscription, but that Chandra was calling to me. But I think we're better off staying in these colors, and we're paid off here with Jade Light Ranger. We could also take this Fable Passage, but I think... ooh, Cabria Takedown's also very nice. J-Light Ranger is pretty much exactly what we want in this deck, though. We don't have a lot of low-drop creatures, which is where Cabria Takedown really shines. So I think we take the J-Light Ranger. Questing Beast is pretty good. Ooh, Kthar's Crusade. Very nice. Although we're maybe having a little bit of a curve issue here, so maybe we want to take lower drop cards like Pelt Collector. Yeah, we'll probably take the Pelt Collector. It's a 1-drop we can grab with Ranger Vios. It is a +1/+1 counter creator and payoff, so all the things we want. Tender Shoot Dry is kind of interesting. Could also take Heliod. How many ways do we actually have to gain life? We have 1, 2, 3. That's not a lot. That's potentially... I mean, what else are we taking here? Llanowar Visionary? I guess we take Heliod. Heliod's the strongest card. I don't think we're going to really miss Llanowar Visionary. Ooh. Benelush Marshal's kind of interesting, but also Primal Might. Primal Might is a removal spell that also lets us get in a bunch of damage, so I think we take the Primal Might. Primal Might's just a messed up card. This is one of those cards I feel like should not have been printed to Color Pie. It's pretty close to just a removal spell. Like, yeah, you have to have a creature on your side of the board, but still, it's ridiculously strong. Could take Mirari's Wake, although we're not really in Mirari's Wake deck, but I guess maybe just an Anthem is fine, and the extra mana we could use to like pump into Shalai, maybe. I think we're actually going to take the Branchloft Pathway. It might be wrong. I mean, Mirari's Wake is very powerful, but I don't think we're that deck. Ishimaru would be kind of interesting, but I think we take the Scavenging Ooze. Good to have some graveyard hate that we can tutor up with our Fauna Shaman. And also just a pretty powerful card. 4 power or greater. How much? We don't have a lot of ways to do that. Oh, yeah, okay. We're taking the Conclave Mentor. I didn't even see that. Conclave Mentor is just exactly the card we wanted. And Unbreakable Formation is a really good follow-up, so pretty happy here. If we could get one more splash, I would feel okay about splashing both of these. But as is, I'm going to just go down to Hazoret. I think Heroic Reinforcements is better in our deck for what we're doing. It's more of an I win card, whereas Hazoret's more of a, like, you know, it does also win you the game, but it's not like I cast this card, I win this turn. Usually, it's more of a, this is the top of my curve. You can't answer all the threats I deployed the last couple turns, and this is gonna kind of put the nail in the coffin. But this is more of a, I cast this card and you are now dead. So, God's Willing's kind of interesting, but I think we want to take the Cabria takedown. And here we could take, I guess we take Kthar's Crusade. It's a very powerful card, so every time a creature enters the battlefield, all of our creatures get a +1/+1 counter, so it just makes, you know, it's very backbreaking. It's a very good way to win the game, but it's also 5 mana, and I don't think we want to have our curve that high in this deck. We do have a Venerated Loxodon, but this isn't really a 5-drop. This is a, you know, between like a 4 and a 2-drop in most times, and sometimes even a 0-drop, depending if we get really lucky. But really, we're curving out at 4 here. So with these 2 kind of spells, kind of lands, I feel like we can probably cut a land or 2 and be pretty happy about it. Heroic Reinforcements. We're gonna have 3 red sources. It's not quite as many as I wanted. Okay, we might play the Visionary. We're gonna have to cut some cards for lands anyway, though, so I'm not sure we're gonna play the Visionary or not. Wow. Do we want to take the Risk the Redeemed or Benelish Marshal? Risk the Redeemed is more of a token deck than a +1/+1 counter deck. Ancestral Blade is also not bad. Benelish Marshal is just hard to cast, but... Oh, well, I guess I'm taking Risk the Redeemed. Alright, Sram's Expertise is fine. Might actually play the Sram's Expertise, potentially. Not sure I'm gonna actually play that Riz the Redeemed. I was in the middle of thinking and the game auto-picked for me, but should have paid more attention. So, green-white +1/+1 counters with also Heroic Reinforcement. It's just a sort of hidden I win button in our deck, and yeah, let's run it. Alright, up against MTG Mage, and yeah, we'll keep this. Probably just gonna play the Cabria takedown as a land here because we're going first. If we weren't going first, I would probably hold on to it, see if we drew a land next turn before deciding. Here, we probably just want to make sure we can curve out into our Basriket. Alright, I'm going to go Fauna Shaman. We could also discard Venerated Loxodon and go get a 2-drop, potentially. Opponent's on green-white too, it looks like. Given that, I think we're going to go discard Venerated Loxodon and go get Conclave Mentor. Play a Forest, Conclave Mentor, and now we've got a Conclave Mentor plus a Basriket, and that's a pretty good combination. Could also potentially Inscription of Abundance next turn, but probably want to wait till we have 1 more mana to do that, so we can get all modes of it. We'll do Basriket this turn. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on our Fauna Shaman. Not bad. And no attacks. We're gonna wait 1 more turn, because next turn we can Inscription of Abundance for 5 mana, use all of its modes, and also... whoa, that's a little scary. We're probably, what we're going to do here, just to make sure we don't lose that to Divine Visitation, we're going to deal with that right now, actually. Yeah, we're going to go Night of Autumn, blow up the Divine Visitation, put some +1/+1 counters on our Fauna Shaman, and if we need to, we can Inscription of Abundance. But otherwise, we can wait till next turn for it. We just didn't want to lose to this Divine Visitation spitting out like 50 angels out of nowhere. And it would have. That's pretty brutal. But the Flying Death Touchers are actually a little annoying for us. Yeah, because we can't... This lets us fight, but we're still going to... Okay, well, Shalai's kind of interesting. Basriket, tick up on Night of Autumn. Go to combat. Attack and attack. Sure, Fauna Shaman dies. We're gonna go Shalai. And... So our guy's gonna go... Yeah, on pass turn. Our guy's gonna go down to 1 here, our Basriket, but next turn we can Inscription of Abundance our Shalai. Yeah, Hornet Queen is actually devastating against us, unfortunately. Oh my gosh. That's not good. Okay, we'll see. Hopefully they'll attack. We can make our Knight of Autumn fight their Tristani, and if they do, we can eat a bunch of their creatures. Okay, we're going to have our Knight of Autumn kill their Tristani. Bastry takes 3. Danto Vanguard. Okay, okay. Aesleid's kind of interesting. Okay, so if we go Aesleid, put +1/+1 counters on Shalai. Yeah, so we're gonna lose the Bastry no matter what here. So we might as well attack with a Shalai. Get in for some damage. Okay, well, I guess, okay. I was gonna say this puts them to dead, but I guess it doesn't technically. Because what I was gonna do is make Shalai. If our opponent doesn't gain life this turn, they're gonna die. But they do have a way to gain life with their life linkers here. So if they send those in to gain a couple life, they're not gonna die. But otherwise, I can sacrifice this Aesleid, give Shalai protection from green, and just kill him on the backswing here if they do go after my Basriket. Oh my god, what a last card to have in your hand. Well, they're going to gain some life this turn, I think. We'll see if we can top deck something here. Gonna need something pretty good. Alright. Sure. I'm going to hope they mess up, basically. So I'm going to Conclave Mentor, I guess, block like this, and hopefully they'll pay the 4 life. All I can do here is hope they mess up. If they pay the 4 life, they just lose. Alright. They didn't mess up. I could have blocked the lifelinker with Aesleid and then sacked it, but then I don't have a way to actually win next turn. Skyclave doesn't help all that much. Jeez. Yeah. I guess I just pass the turn here. No tax. I can activate Shalai, put 2 +1/+1 counters on everything, but the Death Touchers, man, Hornet Queen. Hornet Queen is a problem for sure. And I don't have anything in my deck that really deals with tokens very well is the problem. Like, I had the Fauna Shaman, and I couldn't think of anything that I could actually search to deal with this, is the issue. Sure. If we draw a land, I might still win next turn. Okay, activate Shalai. Come on, if I draw a land, I think I actually win here. Oh, okay. I gotta go for it. This is the only way I can possibly win. Alright, give Shalai protection from green. And attack. Oh my god, okay. That was the only possible chance I had to win, was some jank 'em out bullcrap with Aesleid, and I managed to pull it off. But man, this card definitely brutalized us. You know, I think everything else in their deck didn't really do much of anything, but just this Hornet Queen was almost enough to beat our deck by itself. So shows the power of a card like Hornet Queen to just really invalidate creature decks. But we managed to just jank them out there. We needed to draw exactly an untapped land that turn, or we would have lost here. And we're also kind of lucky our opponent didn't gain more life last turn, but they may not have seen the put 4 +1/+1 counters on the crew and make it unblockable play coming, but whew, we managed to get there, so sweet. On to the next one. Okay, up against Levi List, and I think we will keep this hand. We've got the combo of Fauna Shaman plus Scavenging Ooze, so we can discard stuff, go get other stuff, and then eat the stuff we discard. Gilded Goose, sure. Alright, we will play out our Fauna Shaman here. Probably just run out Scavenging Ooze next turn and get this Evolving Wilds out of the way. Unless there's just something we gotta go grab right away. Wow, Heroic Reinforcements. Pretty good draw. They want a pump spell to kill my Fauna Shaman, and alright, I'll live, I think. Okay, Scavenging Ooze, Evolving Wilds. If they don't have anything we want to kill with a Skyclave Apparition, we may just Ranger Vios next turn. Get things set up more for a crazy Heroic Reinforcements. Like, what we can do is potentially go Ranger Vios next turn, go get 2 1-drops, then the turn after that we can go 3-drop, 2-drop, or 3-drop, 1-drop, 1-drop, and the turn after that, Heroic Reinforcements. So potentially we have some really powerful turns here. But it'll depend on what our opponent does. If they do something we just feel like we need to kill, we do have the Skyclave Apparition too. Okay, so our opponent's on a ramp deck. A little bit scary. I think that means we want a heroic reinforcement sooner rather than later. So we are just gonna go with the Ranger VO's plan here. Go get 2 1-drops and yep, attack our opponent. Next turn we can go potentially, if we draw an untapped land, we can do Skyclave plus both of our 1-drops. If not, we can just go like Pelt Collector plus Skyclave and set ourselves up for heroic reinforcements the following turn. Okay, Chandra. I'm just gonna kill one of our creatures. They're gonna. Alright, they got a 4-drop, seems like. We can't just kill the Chandra. Oh, they got another Chandra, alright. And this Chandra is gonna probably kill our Scavenging Ooze, I think. Sure. But here we can... I think we're gonna heroic reinforcements. Do we kill our opponent here? So 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay, we actually kill our opponent. And that's the power of heroic reinforcement. That's why we splash for it. It's just so... I mean, think about how much damage our heroic reinforcements actually put on the board there, because it not only created the 2/2 tokens with haste, essentially, it also gave our Pelt Collector haste. It gives all of our creatures haste, so that put 2 more points damage on the board this turn, and then another 2 here. So this was basically 4 mana, deal 8 damage. Like, that's ridiculous in an aggressive deck. So yeah, heroic reinforcements is a very good card. Opponent had a Chandra tribal deck? I don't know. Some sort of... I guess it was just red-green, like, mid-range Planeswalker stuff, but yeah, doesn't do much good when you're just dead, so... Alright, on to the next one. Alright, up against the Fawns, who actually has a Yorion deck in draft. That is not the easiest thing to do, but we can't keep that hand. Okay, so we want to... If they're running Yorion, they're probably running a bunch of cards that aren't actually good. So I think we just want to be as aggressive as we can be here. Maybe go down to Knight of Autumn, actually. We do have 4 mana for Ranger VOs now anyway, so even if we skip turn 3, we should be okay. So our opponent is on... Alright, well, Treasure Map will help with what they're doing. Evolving Wilds is a little brutal there. Not only because we don't really want more lands right now, but it's in tapped white source, so we don't even get to Skyclave Apparition next turn. Unless we draw another land, which we really don't want at this point. But the additional lands, the fact that we have Ranger VOs is kind of protection from flooding out. Okay, Hanged Executioner, sure. That's probably going to kill our Luminarch Aspirant. So we'll go Pelt Collector, Evolving Wilds, White Source, and probably just put the counter on our Pelt Collector here. No attacks. So our opponent wants to kill the Luminarch Aspirant with Hanged Executioner. We still got some value out of the Luminarch Aspirant. Although I guess counterpoint to that, Pelt Collector probably would have been... Well, no, next turn we're going to Ranger VOs. So maybe it's fine. If we Ranger VOs next turn and then also put a +1/+1 counter on Pelt Collector, that makes it a 4/4 with Trample. So our opponent might feel like they have to kill that instead of our Aspirant, and our Aspirant gets to keep spiraling out of control. We might need to kill the Treasure Map with our Skyclave App. Wow, okay, they're just going to go Yorion. Kind of tempting to just kill the Hanged Executioner now. But, oh, Basriket, huh? So I think what we're going to do is still going to go Ranger VOs, get ourselves set up for the best possible following turns, and make sure we don't draw these 1-drops. So Swarm Shambler and Aesleiad, because this will let us go 3-drop plus 2 1-drops next turn. And then we're going to, yeah, get this thing some trample on it. Start beating our opponent down. They're going to need a Wrath. We still can potentially kill the Treasure Map if we feel like we need to, but... Solemn. Alright, so opponent's just... Are they actually on like a blue-white blink deck? That's kind of interesting. Goes and grabs a land. Sure. Okay. So here we're gonna go... I think we're gonna go for Broke here. Eat the Solemn. Stop them from drawing a card when it dies. Opponent does get to flip the Treasure Map next turn, but that's going to be what it is. Swarm Shambler, I'm going to put the +1/+1 counter on the Pelt Collector to get this damage through, because our opponent, I imagine, is just going to chump the Ranger of Eos here, unless they have a Wrath in hand. If they have a Wrath in hand, we're not in good shape. We definitely get kind of wrecked by a Wrath here, but that doesn't make sense. Alright, our opponent chumped the creature with Trample, so they should have chumped the Ranger of Eos if they're going to chump anything. Yeah, and there's a Wrath. So we could have tried to play around that, but I think we're just not in good shape if our opponent has a Wrath there. I think we did what we had to do. No, okay. That's gonna do it. Alright. Okay, on to the next one. Alright, up against Rapazato, and yeah, we can't keep the all fours, no green spell hand. Okay. I guess we go down to Aerial Responder. We don't know how deep we're gonna have to dig for that next white source, so might as well. I mean, technically we have a nice curve here, right? Conclave Mentor into Knight of Autumn, or Aesleiad into Conclave Mentor into Knight of Autumn, and then maybe even with if we draw another land, Basilisk Lieutenant on top of that. Well, there you go. So I guess that's what we're doing. Conclave Mentor, hit our opponent, pass turn. So here's we can still use Knight of Autumn to blow something up if we want to, but wow, our opponent is on exactly the same colors as us. Yeah, we're gonna blow this up. We just cannot allow this to we just can't allow this to get hexproof on it and just beat us. So we're going to destroy this while we have a chance. A little brutal because we would have gotten 3 +1/+1 counters for this Knight of Autumn, but we just we can't let that thing live if we have a way to kill it. So next turn we get to Basilisk Lieutenant, put a +1/+1 counter on probably itself, I guess. And it'll be 2 +1/+1 counters instead. It's a little tempting to put it on the Knight of Autumn to make it a 4/3 and start getting in with that damage right now, but I think the fact that it has protection from multicolor and vigilance makes me want to put the counters on it. Elspeth, alright. Well, does that change things? I could put it on... I guess she's just going to chump in that case, so I'm just going to go Basilisk Lieutenant, put it on itself, and pass turn. Opponent's going to have a lot of 1/1s. That's a little brutal. Okay, so it had to, that's like the ultimate counter to our Basilisk Lieutenant because it's a monocolor ability that got rid of it, which is just about as perfect of an answer as you could get. But we have the Swarm Shambler that we can start putting +1/+1 counters on. Yeah, no attacks. The Thalia does help because if they just try to pump their team here, we can eat their attackers for free with the Thalia. Wow. Yeah, we can go Aesleiad, save the Conclave Mentor, protect it from red, and this has only got 1 damage on it. So opponent, this actually doesn't work very well for our opponent. Oof, Scattered Grove's not what we wanted to see, so we will cycle this. Oh my gosh. Auto tapper, why? Yeah, we should have manually tapped there to use this mountain, because we have nothing for 3 mana with red anyway. So we'll just sit back. No real reason to attack here. We can Skyclave Apparition to eat their Skyclave Apparition next turn. We could also maybe eat their Elspeth, because otherwise that Elspeth's going to be coming back over and over again, I suppose. Maybe it's wise just to get rid of that thing for good. Okay, well. Yeah, we're probably going to eat this Fairground Warden now. Gets us back our Swarm Shambler. Okay. Our opponent has a lot of stuff that we have to kill. So, actually, we're going to kill the Lurrus, because that's something that will actually beat us. So, yeah. Kill the Lurrus now, before they can get any value out of it. And pass turn. Next turn we can Shalai, and then just start... If we draw another land past that, we can just start pumping our whole team and eventually get there, yeah. So, Shalai gives everything hexproof, and pass turn. And now we can start double countering our whole team, which should eventually get us there. Okay, we will do exactly what I was talking about. Attack our opponent. Oh, come on. Alright, that's pretty brutal. I guess maybe we shouldn't have attacked because of that, but... Okay. Okay, let's do it like this. Let's try to get them to let this go. This is a lot of stuff to block, so our opponent is probably pretty tempted to just let this go right now. And if they do, because they probably think like we can get the Elspeth back. You know, I want it dead anyway. Yeah, okay. So now we get to just eat the Elspeth before they get to untap. So it's just gone for good. So eat the Elspeth. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and eat the Mecha Godzilla too. Double counter up this Scavenging Ooze and pass turn. And now we're gonna start getting a little more aggressive. Okay, Pelt Collector, not bad. Go to combat. How many creatures we got? We got one creature, so we'll attack, 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 attack. Yeah. Start working through these tokens, and if they do just throw like a bunch of stuff in front of this like Knight of Autumn or this Thalia to get it off the board, we can't just eat it out of the graveyard and double up our Scavenging Ooze again. Okay. 100% to 5, but they're at the point now where we're gonna kind of force them to chump everything because their life is so low. Like, okay, and they scoop it up. Yeah, they just they would have to chump everything next turn, and even if they did, they were gonna be giving us a bunch of stuff back when their creatures die. So yeah, that was really just the interaction between Shalai and Conclave Mentor, I think, that got the job done there. Our opponent did have a lot of removal, but we were able to eventually overcome it. Maybe we should have attacked with everything on the Shalai turn, the turn that Shalai died, but I was thinking at that point that we were going to sit back and just keep using mana over and over again to get our guys to like really ridiculous power and attack the next turn, but maybe if that was the case I shouldn't have attacked with Shalai at all. Anyway, we won, so it all worked out. Alright, up against Mad Climps, and we will keep this, and it's Tajiri Shelter showing its stuff here, why these lands are so good, because otherwise we would have had a mulligan in this hand. We don't have a white source, but guess what? Our spell is also a white source, so our goal here is to Conclave Mentor into Knight of Autumn, if we can. We'll see if that ends up being something we can do. Kajali Sunwing. This is the one that makes everything enter tapped, right? Yeah, I mean, we're still going to do it. We're still going to go Knight of Autumn, +1/+1 counters, and no attacks. So our opponent's on red-white aggro, and Kajali Sunwing is a pretty good card. We don't have removal for it at the moment. So we got to worry about our opponent hitting us one of those heroic reinforcements. Hey, speak of the devil. And our heroic reinforcements is actually kind of ruined by this Kajali Sunwing. You know what, we'll attack here with Knight of Autumn, because I can't really block. Alright, and then we're going to go Ranger Vios. And next turn we can go like 1-drop, Venerated Loxodon, pump everything by a huge amount. Oh, maybe attacking with Knight of Autumn was actually bad here. I was thinking I could block with Ranger Vios if I needed to, but I forgot about the Sunwing. So actually, probably not going to block anything here. Alright, opponent's just getting it in the air anyway. Really worried about our heroic reinforcements, but Young Pyromancer, okay. Here we'll probably go Aerial Responder, Pelt Collector. I'm going to attack with Knight of Autumn. Yep, so we are boned if our opponent has heroic reinforcements here. But if not, we can actually heroic reinforcements next turn for a pretty good attack. Okay, Unbreakable Formation. Pretty brutal. So that hits us for 1, 2, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think we take it. Yeah, I think we're dead no matter what in that case. Alright, so we will keep this. We're up against Faraz, but this is a kind of a sketchy hand. All white sources and a couple of green cards. Well, now this is a much sketchier hand. I was going to say Thalia is just a powerhouse against some decks. Wow, okay, they took the... not what I expected. So we will go Forest, Shambler, pass the turn. So they didn't take the Thalia. That's what I would expect them to take. Okay, Fiend Artisan. Plains. Part of me wants to go Thalia to mess up any removal spells I might have, but I think we're going to go Fauna Shaman. Because potentially we can set ourselves up to actually have an answer to this Fiend Artisan. We should have attacked there. Yeah, there was no reason not to attack there. Rotting Regisar. Alright, well, we might need to answer that instead. So, we're going to go Fauna Shaman, discard Ranger of Eos. Go and grab a Skyclave Apparition. Play Thalia. And pass turn. So we can Skyclave to eat this Rotting Regisaur. Gonna have to take 7 this turn, which is kind of brutal, but no real reason to just throw a creature away to save some life here. Okay, well, you're gonna go Skyclave Apparition. Eat the Regisaur. Oh, no. I'm gonna play this as a land. And attack and... yeah, I guess attack. Alright. Opponent bedevils. Eat our Thalia, sure. That sucks, but not the worst. Like, what are we gonna do? Just never attack? And Thalia being dead does make this History Benalia better. Well, never mind. I need to stop saying things. Every time I say something, our opponent immediately destroys my plan, so... But we do have Scavenging Ooze, which probably is good against what they're trying to do. It keeps his Fiend Artisan in check, at least. Man, I wish we had one more green source. Alright, well, we're gonna go... Scavenging Ooze... And... do we want to play this Aesleiad or just have it to discard? I'm going to keep it to discard, and we'll just tick up this Swarm Shambler. Opponent might just go get a creature with their Fiend Artisan this turn. Just sacrifice this 3/3. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if I end up getting punished for this. Hopefully not. Okay. This takes the creature off the board, so they can't, well, now they can Fiend Artisan it, I guess, but they can only get a 2-drop now, whereas before they get a 3-drop, which could potentially be kind of scary. Well, that's brutal. Ugh. Okay, well, we will tap, cycle. Whole lot of nothing. Yeah, I'll attack. And play the Plains, pass turn. Yep. Maybe I shouldn't have traded away the Scavenging Ooze. They're going to get back the Kroxa, but I think we still do take this trade. Fiend Artisan is going to be more and more of a problem. Now they're going to get back Kroxa. So we're going to need to, if we draw a creature, we can use Fauna Shaman to go get an answer. Although I don't know what we have as an answer for this Kroxa, because we've already used our Skyclave Apparition. Shalai doesn't do it, so I think we're going to have to discard Shalai. Go get a Pastor's Lieutenant, I guess, is the best thing we can grab here. Pastor's Lieutenant. Maybe, I think it was a mistake to block with the Scavenging Ooze, is the big takeaway here. Because if we knew they had the Fiend Artisan, so we knew that they cared about the graveyard to some extent. And we do have the Pastor's Lieutenant to kind of... oh god, well... Heliod, interesting. Well, that's something, right? Heliod on our Pastor's Lieutenant, which has Vigilance, so that's... we got something going on here. The problem is if they have any removal spell... well, I guess, okay. Now if they have a removal spell, it leaves behind a 2/2, right? Passionate Remembrance. Okay. And a Gutter Bones. Alright. Well, the thing is, if they sacrifice here, we can just sacrifice the Fauna Shaman, which is going to give us a 2/2. We get a 2/2. So we're going down to 1 here, but we're not quite dead. And our opponent doesn't have anything to escape back. So we can't just kill the Kroxa here if they attack. Reassembling Skeleton, sure. Primal Might, holy crap, okay. Give this guy lifelink. We're gonna kill the Priest. I think the Priest is a bigger problem than the Kroxa right now. Kroxa is gonna be dinging us for 3 a turn, but we can just block it indefinitely. And attack with Basri's Lieutenant, which has lifelink. Alright, and we're back up to 14 out of nowhere. When it draws a card. Wow, if we actually pull this together, it's going to be crazy. Well, okay, that makes things a little harder with Basri's Lieutenant. Okay, maybe it doesn't. 2 +1/+1 counters here. Oh, no, it didn't do... I wanted to do all 3 effects. Oh, I needed double green and I didn't have it. I didn't realize I didn't have double green. You need double green to do all the effects, and it just, ugh, that was my own fault. I got no one to blame but myself there, but that is really brutal. Even if I had put the +1/+1 counter on our dude here, I could have started attacking with him. That was the worst option, to put him on Basri's Lieutenant. I was thinking I wanted to put the +1/+1 counters on him and fight with this guy, but wow, yeah, that did not go well. Knight of the Ebon Legion, now they got 2 Death Touchers, so that makes things even harder. Ooh, okay, Basri Ket's something. So we'll go Basri Ket. Put a +1/+1 counter here. Pass turn. Alright, so they can pump this twice, right? I guess this does... Is it non-token? Okay. It is going to leave behind a body. And they got to spend their whole turn doing this. So I guess my plan here is to ultimate Basri. So I can't do it next turn, but the turn after that. And Basri's ultimate will eventually win me the game. So I guess that's the plan. If I could draw one more white pip so I could actually get this Heliod on the battlefield, it would be pretty nice. Yep, okay. Block here. Give it lifelink. Okay, Venerated Lockstone's pretty good, and I think I guess I'll go like this. Which turns on Heliod. And then I can tick up on Venerated Loxodon, and I can attack and attack, because the Death Touchers are all tapped down. He can just block the Heliod with Kroxa, which is fine. He's got indestructible. Sure, so I will give this lifelink. Okay, I'll block. Let's see, I guess I should actually, yeah, go like this. It will turn off my Heliod, but so will losing the Bastard Cat, so I gotta block like this. Okay, Pelt Collector. +1/+1 counters on this dude.
I will guard your advance.
And no attacks. I guess technically Dreadhorde of Mason could eventually kill them, but I think, you know, between these two they're kind of gaining as much life as they're losing, so. Crypt Breaker, that's not bad. They've got zombie, yeah, so they can draw some cards here. Okay, so block, actually block. They pump their Knight of the Ebon Legion. We will create the 2/2 first. So that we can get another +1/+1 counter on Pelt Collector. I forgot to use a lifelink. Hopefully that won't end up mattering. We're at a pretty healthy life total now. The real reason that matters is it gives me one less +1/+1 counter. But that's okay. Ugh, another land's not what we wanted to see. Alright, +1/+1 counter on this dude. And no attacks. And I mean, we've got Bastard Cat's ultimate next turn if our opponent doesn't have anything to do. Wow, opponent's just gonna let it go. Alright, well, here we go. Ultimate the Bastard Cat.
We will be found worthy together.
Luminarch Aspirant. +1/+1 counter on Pelt Collector. And no attacks. Yeah, and now we can just kind of sit back and kill our opponent here. Just get our board big enough to swing in and kill him. And the fact that we're making a token that has a +1/+1 counter on it every turn even means that Bastard's Lieutenant protects us. Opponent's going to attack before us too, so they can't really afford to just sit back and do nothing. Still can't really deal with that Knight, so I'm just going to block like this, block like this, block like this. Yeah. Make a 2/2. Okay, so I'll go to combat. Put a +1/+1 counter on my Pelt Collector, which will now go up to 9.
You are grains in a sand.
And I'm gonna start attacking with the Pelt Collector. If they block with their Death Toucher, they still take 8. And then I get their Death Toucher out of the way so I can start getting in with Bastard's Lieutenant. So they don't really have a good option here. Blocking with Croaks is also not that great. Okay, they just take it. Definitely should have gained life there. But, I'll play land. Pass turn. Rankle, okay. I guess just to draw a card? Sure. Sack the 2/2, make it a 1/1. Okay. Agadeem's Awakening, get a couple things back. Drew another land. Brutal. So, go to combat. Put a +1/+1 counter on this guy. Attack, attack. Attack. This is gonna get eaten by Croxa. Attack. Attack. And attack. This just gets eaten here. One of these is gonna get eaten by the Knight. 10. 5. Problem is next turn they gain life with the zombie army thanks to Dreadhorde Invasion. So do I want to attack here? This does... Okay. Yeah, you know what? All in. I've drawn lands for a lot of turns, but I think I've got to... I think I'm at the point now, because this is going to start gaining them life, that I actually have to do something. This doesn't work because this has trample. No, still doesn't do it. Oh, okay. That was a brutally long game, but I think we played it right. Maybe we should have been more aggressive, but that 1/1 Death Toucher held us at bay for quite a bit. But once this was getting to the point where it was going to give their dude lifelink, they were going to have a 6/6 attacking lifelinker. Although I guess they really couldn't attack very well, but gaining all that life back would have put them in a more comfortable position to do some other stuff. So I felt like that was the turn we had to sort of go for it. And yeah, just getting this Pelt Collector was actually key. Just getting something with trample on the board so they couldn't just chump it forever with their dudes like reassembling Skeleton. But ugh, what a brutal match, and took most of our deck, and we Probably could have won a little bit earlier if I didn't misplay, but anyway, we won, so it all works out. Alright, up against BPL, and oof, okay, we'll keep this, but really need to draw lands here. I'm gonna Evolving Wilds, go get a green source. We need another white source specifically to kind of get the ball rolling. Well, that's not another white source, but I guess that is a land. I'd rather it be a land than not a land, so sure. Opponent's on red-black, so potentially sacrifice deck, which is a pretty good deck in this. Okay, well, not the sacrifice deck, but still pretty good. Wow, opponent just doesn't attack. Okay, well, we'll go Mentor and pass turn. No attacks. Next turn we can Venerated Loxodon. Put double counters on our Mentor and on our Azelid. So, unless we draw a land, in which case we can just Bastard's Lieutenant. Alright, Anax. Okay, well, we didn't draw a land, so we're going to go Venerated Loxodon. Double pump our boys. We got a pretty good board here now. We can just have one of our creatures fight Anax before it gets too out of control. With the Inscription of Abundance. If we don't draw a land next turn. If we draw a land, we're just gonna Bastard's Lieutenant. If we draw a white land, then we might just Skyclave Apparition instead. Hellrider, alright. Interesting. So I can go Inscription. I could also go yeah, I'm gonna go Inscription of Abundance. Though I guess that's just a fight, right? So it's actually gonna trade with a Anax. I guess I'll just run out the Skymarch Aspirant, start pumping up this Loxodon. And you know what? I'll attack with him. Opponent takes it. And pass turn. Opponent attacks the Anax here. I think I'm just going to throw the Azelid in front of the Anax. I don't know, maybe just take it actually. Tybalt. Okay. Doesn't change much. Although it does give them some chumpers. Still really just want a white source here. If we can draw a white land and eat this Anax, it's just not gonna happen, is it? I guess this is an instant, so what I can do is pump up the Venerated Loxodon, attack, I guess no attacks, and pass turn. Yeah, gotta pass turn. Yeah, we're stuck on the stinky no draw any lands line here. Hopefully, if we can draw any land, we're good because we can just Bastard's Lieutenant. And Bastard's Lieutenant, we're okay with, you know, just getting in and starting to trade resources because we get to have 2/2s left behind. But if we just can't draw a land, we can't do that. We'll see what they do here. We might Inscription Helm of the Host. Okay. Alright, we're gonna try to kill their Anax. Okay, it did work. They get to make a couple 1/1s, but whatever. We don't care about that. And we did draw a land too, so now we can go Bastard's Lieutenant, put a +1/+1 counter on itself, +1/+1 counters on Aspirant, and now we can start attacking. Yeah, with Loxodon. When it goes down to 6, and we will pass a turn. Next turn, if we draw a white source, we can just get something out of the way with Skyclave Apparition and hopefully kill our opponent. The 1/1 Devils are annoying. Those are pretty good blockers. This Helm of the Host is kind of scary too. If they Helm of the Host on their Hellrider and attack with both, that's a lot of damage. I don't think it's lethal, but it is a lot of damage. And we can't gain life thanks to Tybalt, so we probably can't live through 2 turns of double Hellrider. Yeah. Here comes double Hellrider. They can't block with the Satyrs here. So they can get in with those for sure. Okay, well, or not. Alright, they're gonna go for the triple Hell Rider, I guess. Oh, yeah. So we drew the planes. Is there any reason to do Basriket instead? No. So we're just gonna go Skyclave Apparition, eat the Hell Rider, and we're just gonna do this. Venerated Loxodon, give it protection from red. And there we go. That should be a game. Alright. And our opponent scoops it up. Okie dokie. So we just sort of, we really struggled on mana for a while there, but the combination of Skyclave Mentor and Luminarch Aspirant, very good. Very good 2-card combo there, and was just enough to stabilize things. So even though we were struggling quite a bit and our opponent was on infinity mana with all these powerful cards going on, they couldn't really get through our board. Sometimes you don't need mana, I guess. Sweet. Alright, we are going to keep this. We're up against number 99, and this does look like a kind of non-functional hand, but if this Fauna Shaman lives, which is kind of a big if, but if it does live, then we can start chucking away these white creatures to get some things we can actually cast. So probably chuck this aerial responder first. Okay. I think... Oh, okay. Okay. So we're going to go Fauna Shaman. I think the likelihood of our Fauna Shaman surviving here is pretty low. Looks like our opponent's on a blue-red spell stack. Well, okay. Not a kill spell, I guess, but kind of annoying. Okay, so we'll go... Is there any reason to do Heliod? No, I think I'd rather just get the Fauna Shaman out there. And we could actually have it fight the Pteramander, which, you know what, I'm going to do it while they're tapped out. Because I actually... Who knows when we're going to actually have a chance when they're not tapped out. You know, if they're actually on blue-red spells, it's going to be pretty hard to resolve that Primal Might. So getting that off the battlefield before it becomes a threat that kills us seems pretty good. Electromancer, alright. So they are potentially holding up a counter here, so... I think we're going to Ranger Vios. We could also Heliod, and if it gets countered, we can still search with something with Fauna Shaman. You know what, I think we're going to do that, actually. Heliod. See if it gets countered. Okay, no counter yet. No attacks, and we're going to just discard this aerial responder and go find something we can actually cast, I think. Opponent hits us for 4, sure. Now, this is a scary turn. Okay, well, nothing so far. We'll discard the aerial responder, seeing as we can't actually cast it. I guess Thalia's pretty good. Kind of undo their Goblin Electromancer, so we're going to go Thalia. See if it gets countered. This is a pretty good bait for a counter, and if we resolve this Scavenging Ooze, we're pretty happy about it too. Alright, well, Scavenging Ooze. Okay, well, we'll just pass turn. No attacks. We can gain life at instant speed, so that's pretty good with Heliod. Opponent just did nothing last turn, huh? Kind of, what do they have? Do they have a bunch of double red spells, maybe? Alright, well, I am going to try. Don't know if my Scavenging Ooze is going to actually survive, but... Wow, it did. Okay. And I'm going to put a counter on the Thalia. Sweet, okay. Alright, so I'm going to go Ranger of Eos. Go get an Alseid and a Swarm Shambler, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to attack with this Thalia. Because again, I can, if they double block, I can gain life at instant speed. Merfolk Trickster. Okay, well, that thing's... I mean, it'll still be a 2-for-1 if they want to double block here. Okay, I don't think they thought that through all the way. Because now I get to gain some life, get this Thalia up to 3 toughness. So either they didn't want to trade 2 creatures for 1 there, or they just didn't quite do that right. Okay, and... I'm going to hold on to the Cabria takedown, actually. It's a little awkward with Thalia, kind of ramping up its price a bit, but I think we would like to have some removal here, just in case they like drop a Nim Visitor or something that I have to kill. We'll have some way to do it. Alright, well, Saheeli. So we're going to go Alseid Swarm Shambler. Do we want to kill Saheeli this turn? I guess so. So we'll go to combat, attack. I think Fauna Shaman's done his due diligence here. You know what? We're actually going to attack with everything. If they try to double block the Scavenging Goose, we can just save it with LC it anyway, so we're okay with this no matter how it goes. I didn't want to lose the Scavenging Goose, so I didn't want to attack with it at first, but we can cash in the LC. Alright. Yeah, and they're gonna have us cash that in, which is fine. Give it protection from blue.
You just gave me an idea.
Wipe their board.
I need to
And yeah, I'm gonna just tap this. Go ahead and eat their creatures while they're tapped out. Put a counter on Ranger. Eat their Electromancer. Put a counter on Fauna Shaman. And I went ahead and played the Cabria takedown because I want to have double white next turn, potentially, to cast this History of Benalia. Even though it's 4 mana thanks to Thalia, we still want to start casting that for sure. They have the double red now. Alright, they got the Crackling Drake, but we can eat any spells they put in their graveyard, so it's not actually an issue. Hypnotic Sprite, okay. Go to combat. Attack, 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 and attack. I got them under a pretty fast clock here. Alright, we're gonna eat out of our graveyard. I guess we can eat the Exclusion Mage, actually. Grow our Fauna Shaman. Scavenging Goose is just taking over this game. Then we're gonna go History of Benalia. Oh, I guess that was a mistake. I kind of forgot Heliod was a creature. So yeah, we could have put even more pressure on our opponent there, but I don't think we could have killed him. So anyway, our opponent scoops it up. Wow, so that was our deck just sort of doing exactly what I wanted to do. Fauna Shaman going to grab us our Thalia there to really, disrupt their plays. And then Scavenging Goose plus Heliod. There's a lot of good combos in this deck. There's, Heliod plus Scavenging Goose, a way to gain life over and over again. And then we saw in the previous game we had a combo with our green-white Cleric that gives us an extra +1 counter, plus that creature that gives us a +1/+1 counter every turn. So I think Fauna Shaman's actually better in this deck than I was thinking when I first got her, and I was thinking about not even running her because, in my mind at least, Fauna Shaman's better in sort of a ramp deck where early in the game you want little ramp creatures, and later in the game you want to discard those little ramp creatures to go get your payoffs. That's typically where I think of Fauna Shaman, but I think this deck with all of its little combos and interactions actually, going to get the other half of whatever combo you have the first piece to is pretty good actually. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with Fauna Shaman in this deck. So, alright, on to the next one. Okay, up against Bread Wizard 97, and we will keep this. This is the finals, no matter what, because we've lost twice. So either we win this and we get 7 wins, or we lose this and get 6 wins rather, which is still pretty good. I am going to go Pelt Collector into Scavenging Goose here. It's a pretty good 1-2 punch. It does potentially leave us with nothing to do on turn 3 if we don't draw another land here, but I still think I want to do it because the payoff here is enormous. If we draw an untapped land and we're able to slam our Knight of Autumn here, oh yeah. Yeah. So we're doing this. Actually this doesn't work like I thought it did. So we'll put +1/+1 counters, and you know what? We are gonna offer the trade here. That's fine. We'll trade this with a Paradise Druid. De-ramp our opponent a little bit. Fill up our opponent's graveyard for the Scavenging Goose, because there's a chance next turn we won't be able to play this Ranger Vios. So having something to do with our mana in the terms, with Scavenging Goose seems pretty good. Well, never mind. It's dead. Primal Might, interesting. We are going to just play this Shelter as a land. And we unfortunately don't have anything to do this turn, but next turn we can Ranger Vios and or Shalai. Shalai might be better because we have this Primal Might. Can really put the pressure on our opponent. Alright, let's see how they do with this Jade. Oh wow, just 2 lands. That's what we wanted to see. So, Even though drawing 2 lands is good for our opponent, but that means they can't block with this Jade Light Ranger. So we will hit them for 4. Wow, they're just gonna... Alright, so they block just to save 4 life, which is what we wanted to see. So what do you got for 5 mana, opponent? Thragtusk. That's not bad. That's actually pretty good. So we're gonna go... Ranger of Eos. Go and get our other 2 1-drops. I actually should have manually tapped there. I think we would rather... I guess we didn't have a mana open anyway, so Swarm Chandler is actually better. So we'll just attack here. Yeah, Primal Might isn't that good against Thragtusk, unfortunately, because it still leaves behind a 3/3 body. We're hoping we can untap here, and we can go like Elsia to protect our Shalai, and Shalai to protect everything else, and we have a pretty good setup there. And Thalia thrown into the mix too, of course. So we're hoping to fade Wildborn Preserver. Okay, well Rampaging Ferocidon, so they get to grow their Preserver. Sure. We might have to just kill that, because it's going to grow pretty big. So we're going to go Elciad. And opponent pings us. Luminarch Aspirant. Yeah, opponent pings us. And we're going to go Primal Might, fight this dude, so that it can't grow out of control. And put a +1/+1 counter on our Shalai, attack, hit our opponent for 5. You know what, that was actually wrong. I shouldn't have done it the way I did, because now I don't have a mana open to protect the Shalai with Elciad. I was thinking, okay, well, not punished at the moment yet. Okay, so all the creatures are lands, but that doesn't really matter. So I can... What happens if I just pump everything here? They block, they take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... Do they just die? So if I attack with everything here, they block, take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... Yeah, I think they're just dead. And put this on Shalai. And I'm pretty sure this just kills them. They can block, but they end up taking lethal anyway. Unless they have something to actually cast here. And their creatures are land, so they're not quite tapped out. There is a world where they have something that saves them here. Yes, okay. Wow, and what a freaking explosive finish. It just really shows the power of this deck. Shalai pumping everything up. Man, our opponent had a pretty good board going here. They had a way to stop us from gaining life. A Thragtusk, that's the ultimate value engine, but we just completely outclassed it, more or less. So, alright, so our deck ended up being pretty good. Green-white counters, and cube seems pretty fun. Magic Arena is getting to the point with their cubes that, like, they just have a lot of different cards. You know, they've added a ton of stuff to Historic. The format's just a lot more powerful than it was in, like, the first iterations of the cube, I believe. There's a lot of cards in here that typically wouldn't be that good in normal cube, but here you get to try them out because, you know, the power level is a bit lower because it's just whatever's on Arena. So, in any case, our deck ended up being pretty good. We got our 7 wins. We got the maximum wins here. So let's see what we got in terms of prizes. I actually have no idea what you get if you win 7 times. So 6,000 gold and 3 cards. And I think it was like 400 to enter or something. So I don't know how that translates from gems to gold. I don't know if Wizards knows. I don't know if there's a person alive on this world who knows how the gems and coins translate. But in any case, hey, a Solemnity. In any case, 6,000 I hope is more than I put in. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. Cube is one of my favorites, so this was a blast for me. So this has been 2D, and I'll see you guys next time.